Welcome to Soy Satya. And for today, we are going to need a blanket and two blocks. So our first position is going to be in crocodile pose today. So I like to lay my blanket out really wide, and that way I have an extra little bit of cushion. And we're just going to spread our knees wide as we lower ourselves down to the floor. Elbows come out by your ears, and then allow your head, and I'm not going to speak into my head, but allow your head to just simply rest on your hands. If it's not very comfortable to rest on your hands, you can always put your two fists up and allow your head to rest into your fists. Anything that really lets your spine get nice and long and your neck stay centered. And what I'm going to do is, instead of going into crocodile pose, I'm actually just going to be sitting in order for me to make sure that everybody is okay and aware. And I'm just double checking my technology here for a couple of seconds. So get yourself comfortable and lay down and allow yourself to acknowledge your breath. Settle in. And this is our centering. Centering is the section of the yoga class where we begin to arrive. And arriving physically isn't what yoga means. Arriving spiritually and in our minds is just as important as meeting your body on the mat. So take some breaths into your body. Begin to notice how your body is feeling against the floor. And that gentle inhale, allow your ribs to expand and maybe touch the floor a little bit more than they did before. And on the exhale, allow it to be natural and just fall into an exhale. And notice how this gentle exchange of inhaling and exhaling allows you to become more attuned to yourself. I was reading this book by Eric Schiffman about yoga, and he talks about moving into stillness and the reason why moving into stillness is in order. Moving into stillness in order to experience your true nature is the primary theme of yoga, simply because everything about you is predicated on the way you feel about yourself. The way you feel about yourself determines how you think, what you do, and how you interact with the world. And so in this time where we feel so outward, in this time where we think that what is happening in the world matters a whole lot. Begin to shift your perspective to your body and your mind and your spirit. If we are calm in our bodies, we are calm in our minds, and we are calm in our spirits. And so notice that flow of air coming in through your nostrils, down into your lungs, maybe filling up your belly. And exhale it out gently. And anything that you exhale, just know that whatever is leaving you is not serving you anymore. And as we're laying here in crocodile pose, maybe allow yourself to lift up your heel of your right leg, maybe your whole right leg from your hip to your toes, and just hover it over the ground, maybe a couple of inches. Extend really far as you can back, which really only means that you can extend it maybe an inch or two, and lay it down. And then lift up your left leg from hip to toe, extend further back, and drop it down. And allow your hips to shift from side to side. Pressing your legs down into the ground, feel that energy grounding you. Almost just a gentle press. And then allow both legs to lift up into the air and hold this position gently. Dropping down your legs, let your hands slide underneath your shoulders. We're going to begin to lift up in can't remember what this is called, but because it's 5 a.m., but just begin to allow to lift your chest up, hovering ever so gently over, and drop down your chest, letting your cheek rest to one side. On your next inhale, lifting up, once again, being light in your hands. Exhale over to the other side. Inhaling for cobra, there's my word. Exhaling once again down. This time we're going to lift both our legs and our chest up for a boat pose. So allow your hands to come down to your side and then begin on your inhale to start engaging. So inhaling, lifting your legs, your arms, and hold this pose for 2 breaths. Remembering that a calm breath is a message to yourself. On the exhale, just allow yourself to lay down and melt into the floor. And lay here knowing that you are at peace with yourself and all is well. Again, keeping your hands underneath your shoulders, we're going to move into tabletop. Shifting our hands underneath our shoulders, knees underneath our hips. And inhaling for cat or cow, exhaling for cat. Allow these first couple of cat and cows to just move with the breath. The idea here is to unify your body with your mind. So allow your mind to focus on this breath connected movement and allow your body to just follow what your breath is doing. Again, how we feel about ourselves is a reflection of our connection to ourselves. If we are connected and if we know our mind, body, and spirit in this friendly way, then we can move about with peace and calm because there's an absence of conflict. Coming back into neutral spine, allow your hips to come back into Balasana or child's pose, exhaling out. Inhaling in, allow yourself to come back into neutral spine, tipping over into neutral spine into a modified plank on your knees. Your feet can lift up behind you, and we can inhale in, holding this posture. Exhaling out, coming back into Balasana. Allow all of your spine to warm up. Inhaling, tipping forward, plank pose. Exhaling out. Inhaling up, last time. Coming back into a neutral spine, allow your right leg to lift and readjust to this new normal. Create stability where you can find it and extend your leg nice and long, almost energizing out that back leg. Making sure that your hips are even. Allow your left arm to lift. This opposite tug, this opposite pull. So this left arm is going to extend away from that center core of your body, knowing all the while that you are in control. You have the stability that you need. Bringing your arm down, cross that foot over the center line of your body, and then drop your right foot down on the left side. Before we gaze back, though, allow your hips to just shift once again into a place of neutrality. Breathe and then exhale, turning and finding the toes on the other side. Allow this stretch to happen organically. Perhaps in the beginning, it feels foreign to you. Know that any new experience is going to have that feeling. Sit and breathe through this and feel how the breath can just butter out those areas of tension. Lifting up your heel, swinging your leg out to the side. I'm actually going to turn so that you can see the front side of me. We're going to plant our right foot down into the ground so that our whole foot has contact with the floor. Neutralizing your spine. Lift and breathe in and tip up for cow. Exhaling out for cat. Swinging up into gate pose. We're going to allow some breath connected movement by inhaling and then exhaling, tipping over to your extended leg for a side stretch this way. Inhaling into center, change your arms so that your right hand is up, tipping over to your left side. Exhaling, inhale up to center. Allow this movement to become organic. Allow this movement to be directed by the breath. Perhaps yours is different from me. That's fine. I am inhaling to center, exhaling as I go out. Maybe you're the opposite. As long as you're moving with those movements, you're connecting in, tapping in. Coming up into center, bringing our hands down. We're going to extend our hands out, dropping our head down. Maybe this is all that you decide to do in this posture, is to just extend your spine long. If you're having some mobility in your hips, you may want to, I like to tuck my back toes in and just drop the weight of my hips back and hold this posture a little longer. Coming back up into a neutral spine once again. Knees are under hips. Hands are under shoulders. We're going to also take the left leg now, extending it nice and long. Grounding down into your points of contact on the floor. Power into that feeling, and then allow your core to become just as stable as your contact into the floor. Using the power from the ground. Shift over into your left hand in order to bring up your opposite arm or your right hand. We're going to take this opportunity to feel the contrasting pull. So pulling away from your left heel, away from the core, and also with your right hand pulling away from the core. Feel this energy extending long through your whole body. Dropping your hand down, neutralizing your spine. Cross your left foot over your right to your right side of your body and drop down your toes. Inhaling, keeping neutrality in your spine. And as you exhale, just simply gaze over your shoulder to your left toes that are on your right side. Crossing over to us allows us to find a new perspective and discover new things about ourselves, more importantly. Remembering this relationship between yourself, how you feel about yourself, you can only be so much to other people. Unless we start with ourselves, we cannot do service in the world. Coming back into neutral spine, lifting up your back leg, swinging your back leg out to the far side of your left body. I'm going to swing to the front this time, planting that left foot. Inhale for cow as your leg is extended. Exhale, ha, for cat. Inhaling once again. And exhaling. And now swinging back up into gate. We're holding this posture, lock down into the ground and engage your abdominal to lengthen your lower back. Feeling this length in your spine. Inhale and then exhale, tip over to your extended side. Inhaling back into center, placing your opposite hand on your hip and tipping over to the opposite side. Notice how this feels a little different on this side. And practice that art of observing yourself. Allow this breath to move your postures. And come back into center, dropping your hands down to the front. Allow your spine to become nice and long and tip your hips back in order to create that length in your spine. If you're feeling like the ability is in your hips to come and seat yourself all the way back, that is something that you can do, though it's not necessary. Remember, the idea here is to lengthen out our spine. So release any tension in your shoulders and your hips. And coming back up into neutral spine. We're going to move into some standing postures, so you may want to take your blanket and just move it to the side for a minute to get that grippy feeling on your mat. We're going to go into our first down dog of the day, so spreading out your hands, allow your toes to tuck and bring your hips back a little bit. I like to start in this posture so that I keep an emphasis on my spine lengthening out. So as you bring up your hips, generously bend those knees and lift your hips nice and high to create this long and lengthened spine. Allow the breath to sort of bring a vibrancy to the pose. So instead of this pose being static, allow the inhale to maybe bring a little more stretch into that posture. Notice what your inhale does for your body. Maybe you want to walk your dog. Allow the exhale to just simply release into the posture. So the inhale is more active. Noticing on the inhale where there is tension and directing a little bit more of a stretch into that area. Exhaling, create ease in that posture. Looking up at your hands, we're going to step ourselves into a forward facing fold. You may want to block to just bring the floor up to you a little bit. Keep a nice generous bend in your knees and just allow your belly to touch over the top of your thighs. And wherever you are, place your hands down. So it may be that you need to place your hands down onto a mat. The idea when we're in a forward fold of bending your knees is to just simply allow your spine to lengthen. And there's maybe a theme here to that. Inhale deeply. And exhale again to release. A little bit more ease into your body. Coming up into standing position, bending your knees as you do. Bring up all that is good from the ground and exhale it down into your heart center. And with our first Tadasana, stand here for a minute and allow your weight to redistribute. And we talk a lot about felt sense in yoga. Maybe notice the connection between your mind and your body and your spirit even more in this moment. Maybe reacquaint yourself with your body as you're standing. And now allow yourself to direct your attention to your feet. We're going to drop your right foot back, bringing it into warrior 2 feet so that you're kind of on a balance beam if that's what you'd like. Whatever feels good in your body is generally what is proper for you. So keeping your legs nicely extended right now. We're not going to drop quite in yet into our full expression yet. So we're going to bring our arms up, inhaling up, exhale, drop into warrior 2. This is our first real strong standing pose. Noticing where in your body you're feeling maybe a little tension. Allow, once again, this pose to be vibrant. On your inhale, send awareness into those areas. On your exhale, release a little away. Moving into stillness is almost a misnomer because we have such vibrancy in our body. So on the outside, we may look like we are still, yet there is so much happening. Inhaling, allow your back arm to come behind your back in a bound and lift up. And breathe in this posture for a little bit. Exhaling, tip forward for a lengthened side angle. We're going to drop down our elbow and extend our arm upward. Bring that energy from the ground up into your arm, all along your side body. Inhaling, coming back. Exhaling, side angle. This time, if you don't have a block close to you, grab a block carefully. We're going to drop down. So our left foot is in front. We're going to place it on the inside of our left foot, that block. I like to put it at a high angle. We're going to take our back heel, pivot it into a kind of a nice high lunge and place our hand onto the block. Our other hand, our left hand, is going to extend out and we're going to move into this nice twist. And remember, twists, if you don't feel like keeping your arm lengthened and long, you can bind it behind you. Twisting from the base of your spine. And dropping back into center, allow your hands to maybe touch down on the ground and stay in this high lunge for a breath. And then kick your foot up so that it is in sort of like this halfway pose. Bring your blocks to either side of you and come back up into standing. Ground down. We're moving into pyramid pose next. So allow your hips to equalize out and square up. And I like to keep my fingers at my hips to remind myself to hinge at my hips, leading with my chest. The idea to pyramid pose is to, and at least in this instance, is to just stop at that level of sensation. This is what we call an edge. And what is your edge? So allow yourself to maybe notice where that edge is by backing off from extreme feelings. That first edge is that first level of sensation. Allow yourself to, again, create a dynamic feeling with this breath. And when your body is ready to lower down, begin to slide down and find the new edge, that new area of sensation. Only when you are ready can you begin to lower down a little bit more. And pyramid pose is a great pose to teach yourself what your limitations actually are, maybe to where you're willing to go, and also what your body is open to doing. So bend your front leg, and we're going to come back into a down dog. And once again, allow this great equalizer to become, once again, a breath work machine. So inhaling and exhaling, allow more stretch in, release any tension on that exhale. Looking to your hands, take your foot on your right side and just lift your knee up into your chest, drop your foot down into warrior 2 feet on this side and come up. And I'm gonna actually move so that I'm more camera friendly. So on this side, we're gonna keep our legs lengthened and long for a minute. Lift up your arms, equalize out your hips, drop your bend in your knee now. Holding this posture for warrior 2. And again, breathe into those areas where you're feeling a little effort. Breathe that awareness into those spots. And then on the exhale, release a little more. Inhaling, scoop forward and raise that front arm up. I like to keep my back arm behind me. And now exhale, bringing your front arm down to your knee and extending your back arm long for side angle stretch. Holding this. If you're like me and you forgot to bring a block over to the side, sorry. You're going to drop that block over to right by your foot. I'm going to come back into side angle stretch here. And then as I twist my hips, I'm going to pivot my back heel, raising my back heel up for a high lunge. And maybe you need to readjust, and that's okay. While you're at it, don't forget to bring another block over for pyramid on this side if you're on the opposite side of the mat like I am. Nice high lunge. This time we're going to take our left hand, placing it on that block, and then turning for a twist on this side. Radiating that twist from the base of your spine. I am going to put my arm behind me because sometimes my shoulder doesn't necessarily feel right. And so I know for myself that that is an edge that I just don't care to work on at this moment. Try to be light in your hand on your block. Exhale. Drop your hands to either side of your foot and then jump your back leg into sort of a halfway stance. Feet are on train tracks or opposite sides of the road. Equal out your hips. Running down into your feet, lengthen your lower back. And then hinging only at the hips. Exhale to find, once again, that first edge. Ooh, and it's different on this side. And what happens in that, we have to understand that most of our bodies are not perfectly symmetrical, nor should they be. Each body is unique and different. And we should treat each part in our body like the individual that it is. Breathing in, allow your breath to be the wisdom that's used to guide you into this posture. Finding that first edge. And then allowing yourself to relax down into it with your exhale. And each time you breathe, maybe you seek more wisdom. More guidance from the source of your wisdom, which is your body. On your inhale, notice those spots, and on your exhale, begin to release into it a little more until we bend our knee, drop back once again into a down dog. And allow our knees to touch the ground. And come into an easy seat. So for me, I want a blanket under my hips. I need to keep my hips above my knees. It has to happen. For you, it may be different. So just sort of acknowledge that and kind of work with it. And so we're going to go into, I should be over here, a gentle twist to absorb all of this wisdom in. So I would like you to maybe move into deer pose. So shin is parallel with the long side of your mat or the short side of your mat, depending on where you're sitting. And it's kind of like it spins away from itself. So your front leg, your shin is parallel to the side of your mat. Your other leg just sort of goes away from your body. And allow yourself to sit and lengthen your lower back, grounding down your sits bones if you're able to. That's why a blanket's very important, because your hips are uneven in this posture. Sitting up straight, allow yourself to breathe out and in and out. Breathe deeply in, and on your exhale, twist your body over toward your front leg. Allowing that twist to generate from your spine, that base of your spine. Twists allow us to absorb information. And so because you've gotten to connect with yourself today, allow yourself to really lock in that feeling. Exhaling, come back. Lifting up your legs and switching your legs out. Sitting up, spine straightened. This time we're on opposing legs, so your front leg feels a little bit different. Notice how, without any twist, notice how this feels. Again, it's a new pattern. Inhale and then exhale, twisting from the base of your spine and turning. Breathing in and then exhaling back into center, allowing yourself to sort of rock around. I'm going to position my blanket for supported bridge and also Savasana, because I am a blanket hound. I love a good squishy surface. So in supported bridge, I want to kind of explain it to you before you get into it. Remember, for your block, remember that you have a triangle down at the base of your spine, which is called your sacrum. Okay, so right here. You can find it by kind of finding the dimples in your butt. And what I want to do, I like to find the dimples in my butt and then put my thumb into one of those dimples and then just slide my block up so that it is lower than those dimples. That top edge is lower. Okay. If you extend up your block, you're actually going into your vertebrae of your spine, and that's not a solid surface. It won't feel right. So be your best judge and remember that the integrity of your spine is paramount. So allow yourself to come into a seated position, lifting your spine nice and tall. Inhale and then exhale. Lower with intention and maybe a little muscle vertebrae by vertebrae. Feels delightful to put my spine down nice and long on the floor. And now let's extend that length. So just ground down into your feet and gently lift your hips up. Slide a block right under your sacrum into that sweet spot that we talked about. And allow yourself to feel this traction, that lengthened spine. We've been talking a lot about spines today because the spine is like a super highway for your energy. So allow all of that energy to begin to flow without constriction. If you're feeling a little bit like there's effort in your legs, maybe you tip your knees toward each other so that you don't have to worry as much about your legs. It's not a distraction anymore. Allow the nourishment of this posture to really take hold. And bring your mind back to your beautiful backbone. And feel the extension and the spaces between the vertebrae. Allow your breath to be fluid and continuous and deep. And allow your eyes to begin to get a little heavier and maybe taking the tension away from them. And feel the nourishment of this posture. Feel how energy is pulling up from your hips, traveling down into your heart space and your lungs. Maybe even your breath is slowing and nourishing this space as well. And if you want to move into Savasana, just simply lift your hips up. Holding at the top, allow one last little bit of effort to lower your spine, vertebrae by vertebrae, down into Savasana. If it's nice enough for you to just lay here and extend your legs, great. But if you feel the need to grab another blanket for yourself or put on your socks, take some time to do that. And for myself, I'm actually going to come into a seated position to speak. I feel like the sound picks up a little bit better. And so take some time to gel in all of this knowledge that you have. And if you feel like turning me off and having an extra long savasana, go right ahead. I won't stop you. But if you feel like sticking around, allow your body to release any tension or effort that it has. Begin to breathe deeply in. I want to end precisely on time today because we are at almost the 6 o'clock mark. But remembering this, if you have time, you can extend even after the video is finished. Remember, moving into stillness in order to experience your true nature is the primary theme of yoga, simply because everything is about you. And when else in our world can we say that? The way you feel about yourself determines how you think, what you do, and how you interact with the world. And so coming into a seated posture or just simply laying on your side, raising your arms up or bringing your hands just gently to heart center. I want to leave today with a blessing. May we all be happy. May we all be healthy. May we all continue to walk in the light of our truth. And may my peace contribute to the peace in this world. Namaste, everyone. Namaste.